All right, joining us is Major General Sudhakar Jee, retired. He is a former colonel of the Mahar Regiment. He has the distinction of having served and commanded troops along the northern borders in the western, central and eastern sectors. General, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, before we come to the Rafale deal, how do you see this high-level meeting between Defence Minister and the Prime Minister? What might have been on its agenda?
Ramesh, good afternoon. Thank you for getting me to your show. And as regards to the question which you are asking, my personal take, because we are all mindful of the advisory which has come, my take is it is all going to be decided or focusing on the national security, particularly in relation to what has happened in Pelgam. You know, that mayhem or the massacre of those 26 civilians, unarmed civilians, at a tourist spot was uncalled for, unwarranted. But then, be that as it may, there has to be a meeting response, a befitting response to be given by India at the perpetrators of this terrorist act. While I say this, India has to be mindful of the security environment which is obtaining in and around the subcontinent. We have to be mindful of the new additional fronts which have opened up, like Bangladesh. We have Doklam, the Chinese are sitting there or close to it, and the revival of the proxy war in J&K. And most importantly, the extended standoff, which gave us a perception that everything is hunky-dory, things should go back to normal. But it hasn't happened. The reset which was expected between China and India in relation to pulling back of the troops, that is withdrawing them from wherever they were deployed and getting back to the status of pre-April 2020. Somehow it has not happened. And on top of it, this massacre of our civilians at Pelgam, which is definitely finger is pointing towards the sponsors across the line of control, that is Pakistan. So while deciding the target, it is their call. The decision makers in the cabinet committee headed by the Honorable Prime Minister, the place, time and the circumstances is a matter of choice which has to be decided by the leadership, and the type of weapon systems or the platforms to be used also has to be decided by the Cabinet Committee on Security. And this meeting that you're pointedly asking is fine-tuning a preparatory level of activities in terms of mobilization of resources, selection of target, and importantly, the consequences of any retaliation undertaken by India. India has to be prepared to face those kind of challenges and eventualities. Back to you, Ramesh.
A quick follow-up question, General. You painted a very disturbing hostile scenario obtaining in India's immediate neighborhood, especially in wake of the Pahalgam terror attack. Talking about the Pahalgam terror attack specifically, General, are all options still very much on the table? Kinetic, political, diplomatic, economic?
Absolutely, Ramesh. Just because I'm a soldier, my party is national interest, so the viewers should not take me amiss. Any statement I give, it is purely a personal assessment of being a student of geopolitics, strategy and security. From 2014 till date, whatever decisions the present government has taken in response to such kind of mayhem or terrorist activities, whether it is Uri attack or Pulwama or now Pahalgam, you start with Uri attack. This is perhaps for the first time a very significant and notable cross-border surgical operation was carried out. And it was followed by the Pulwama in 2019. And also the response matrix was a hard-hitting one, well may not be in the heartland, but well inside Pakistan, across the line of control. So this time I expect that kinetic component is going to be there. The form and contour and the color may vary, but in my view, as per the articulations by top leadership of the country, I personally feel this time the target is going to be quite substantive and enormous, and it will be befitting to the losses that we have been imposed with. The innocent lives have been lost. And when you are talking about the spectrum of activities, I don't think it is going to be one and all. That is a one type of balakot, and that's the end of it. To me, it appears that it is going to be a protracted one, it is going to be a sustained one over a period of time, so as to keep Pakistan under pressure, so as to make Pakistan realize that as long as they do not stop this cross-border terrorism, India is not going to pull back its course of action against Pakistan, so as to stop these terrorist activities against our own people. And last but not the least, that when you talk about the spectrum, it will have a non-kinetic component, which has already been applied. And mainly, I would say, majorly, I would say, the Indus Water Treaty has been suspended, or it has been held in abeyance. Or the other issue, which I personally feel I recommend, is that the FATF is another issue. America could be prevailed upon to stop giving bailout packages through IMF, because Pakistan is already trying to negotiate with the high-level people there in USA. That is second point. Third point is also it is trying to get the amount which has been sanctioned. I think it is 430 odd million. That is for upkeep and maintenance of the F-16. That also should be withheld. And similarly, other steps could be taken. But importantly, when you come to the kinetic component also has got different sub-headings. One is a standoff component. The other is cross-border covert operations. And likewise, we have many options. And those options are the ones at the discretion and the decision of the CCS. They are the ones who know the ground situation. They're alive to the reality. I think we should leave it to them. The leadership is doing a fantastic job, and the wisdom lies in their hand, and they have to take a final call as to what is to be delivered at what point in time, at which place, so as to have the requisite, or rather than unimaginable kind of a treatment which we have been assured through the articulations of the leadership of the country. And I am very confident, I am very sure, sooner or later, it's going to happen, and it will happen. It may take little time, because the preparation takes little time to get ready for the consequences, not for the impending offensive retaliation that we are looking at. Back to you, Ramesh.
Indeed. And talking about the Rafale deal, General, what can you tell our viewers about this proposed signing of the Rafale Marine fighter aircraft deal, especially for the Navy, we are told? I mean, are the Rafale jets being bought as a stopgap measure until India develops an indigenous carrier-borne fighter jet?
Absolutely. That's a fact of life. In fact, let's not hide the truth. The reality remains that perhaps India is one of the very few countries which is an emerging global power, which has got two aircraft carrier, and the INS Vikrant, which has been developed and also produced by indigenously. This is an aircraft carrier which requires aircraft, state-of-the-art aircraft immediately, because as it has been brought out by the previous speaker, the MiG-29 is an aging fleet that doesn't have the kind of avionics which Rafael has. Now we need to understand what is this aircraft. Why didn't we go in for things like, let's say, F-16? This aircraft, as per me, it is far, far better, and it has got a huge power and platform to deliver a greater amount of warhead and explosives at the point of shooting, that is the target. When you talk about this, the warhead capacity, carriage capacity, and also the overall load is pretty higher than that of any aircraft which is comparable with Rafale. And also the weight to thrust ratio is, I think, one of the highest in F-16 series. This aircraft actually gives the ability to Rafael to maneuver itself and avoid detection, as also from the oncoming missile and the warheads. And third and most important thing that we need to understand is that it is a omni-role kind of aircraft. Let's not have any misgivings that it is going to be based on the platform of the aircraft carrier. It is meant only for the maritime. Yes, it is a maritime variant, no denying the fact, but it also has the capability to give ground support whenever ground troops are to be supported by the aerial support. And it has the capability also to adopt a profile of nuclear deterrence. That is the kind. And also one of the most important things which many people may not be knowing, this aircraft is a very unique aircraft which is built, has got inbuilt systems of electronic countermeasures. Electronic countermeasures, they fall under the three paradigms. ESM is the support measure, that is to support your system when you are seeking information of the enemy electromagnetic emission. And if there is a countermeasure from the enemy, or the enemy is trying to seek information from you, then there is a countermeasure from our side. It is called ECM, electronic countermeasure. And to the enemy's ECM towards our ESM, we have an electronic countermeasure. So this is one of the very few aircrafts in the world today which has got this kind of inbuilt system built inside the aircraft, and this is going to give us a booster as far as the electromagnetic spectrum warfighting is concerned. Besides that, this aircraft also can be applied for, besides the maritime duties, for surveillance, for interdiction, also close air support, air superiority, etc., etc. Now, what is important is that over a period of time, particularly from 2014 onwards, I see as a student that the sphere of influence of India's areas of interest, they have extended to the west from Persian Gulf towards Mediterranean, and in the east from Malacca Strait to South China Sea. So under these circumstances, these two naval the aircraft carriers, if backed with such kind of state-of-the-art Rafales or the aircrafts, they definitely are going to be very, very supportive and will help in contributing towards achievement of the larger goal of the national interest. And more than anything else, it has got the ability to maneuver in a complicated situation in an air-to-air battle very efficiently. So these are the few issues I thought I must share. And there are many more, but keeping in view the time, I am restricting my response to respond to you.
I'm afraid we run out of time. I'll have to leave it there. Major General Sudhakar Jee, thank you for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.